All right, gang. Discipline, discipline, discipline. That is what we're going over today. We always go over the technicals and the levels and our setups and our models. So let's switch it up and go over some discipline talk today, right? Because ultimately, all the technicals, all the models, they don't mean shit if we don't have the right mental and the right discipline to trade it properly, right? So discipline starts before the trade. Have a written plan and respect it. You guys know almost every single day, we kind of have a game plan. Now, game plans change. Obviously, market structure throws us a curveball sometimes. But ultimately, I'm looking for the same thing every day. I have a plan, and I try to respect it. And the days that I have the plan ready and we respect it and it plays out, those are the days that I make the most money, right? So if your rules aren't written, they don't exist, right? So that's all there is to it. Like if you don't have a set of rules every day, you're just coming in and winging it. And there's no discipline in that. Right? Your entry, stop, target, position size should be predefined. Now, for me, obviously, my entry, you guys know, I have a specific model for that. My targets, anything after 20, 30 points, I'm pulling out, setting stops to break even, and targeting the next point of liquidity or the next level. Position size, I size the same usually every time. Yesterday, I sized up, and I ended up losing money, right? My discipline wasn't on point. All that stuff should be predefined, right? Discipline means when you decide when you're calm, not when you're in the trade. Like, I feel like that's what separates the pro traders from not. Like, they're calm through trades. They're calm through losses. Most people freak out, and it takes a long time to build that discipline to deal with it. But, if you have everything in place, then you should be okay over a while. And we'll get down into it more, and you'll see why. So prepare daily like a professional. And I say this all the time. Trade like the pros. Mark key levels before the session. I really hope you guys are doing that. Like if you're coming in last minute, you're marking key levels, it's just, come on now. You know what I'm saying? So define what A+ setup means, right? Like I know when I have an A+ setup, I know when I have a key level plus a liquidity sweep model, or if I have a big sell-off to stack levels, boom. Even today, I thought that was a nice A setup that I traded. We sold down. Bounced off for a level. We got 30 points. Beautiful reaction off that level. We had like a 200-something point sell-off. So know what those A+ setups are, right? Know what conditions invalidate your bias. I tell traders, if you're improvising during market hours, you're already behind. Stick to your plays and edge. My invalidation points are M2 or M5 candles below a key level or a point of liquidity or a gap or something like that. Like you got to have points of invalidation. And that has to be part of your discipline, right? So if you're improvising during market hours, it's a tough thing to say because sometimes we got to improvise, but we don't want to improvise from our discipline. That's what I'm trying to say, right? We don't want to improvise from our discipline. Yeah, technicals and stuff, we got to do different things. Sometimes we got to make changes, but our discipline, we want to stick to that, right? So risk management is the foundation of discipline. Capital protection is priority number one. I always say this. Capital preservation. Like, you got to stay in this a long time to make money, right? So if you come in, you're blowing accounts and running through evals every couple of days, then, the capital preservation isn't there. You need to protect that capital, right? So your job is not to make money today. Your job is to stay in the game long enough for your edge to play out. I can't stress that enough. Your job is to stay in the game long enough for your edge to play out. Like, the system we have trades. You see me trade, you see Trev trade his system, it works. Like we're in the game long enough and we keep our capital preservation. Like yesterday could have been a blow up day. It could have been a 4 or 5, 6K loss for me, but I walked away and said, fuck it, I'm done. You know what I mean? Like that was discipline. Even though it was a losing day, it was still a disciplined day for me. So risk must be consistent. Never increase size because you feel good. Never double down to recover losses. I sized down today. I had that loss yesterday, and I had a $1,700 loss yesterday and a little over $500 win today. I am super stoked about that. I came in today. I took good trades. I sized down just so I could get my head back in the game, and that's what traders do. You've seen it last time I took a loss. It took me 3 days to get it back. I'm not thinking about getting it back the next day. I don't care. I'm coming in, sizing down, trading my setups, and just knowing that the foundation of my models and my level system is going to play out over time, right? And don't double down to recover losses. Like we don't do that. We take a loss and we usually walk away, right? Like think like a pro trader. So, that has to be consistent. If you can't follow rules on a small size is not your problem, discipline is. And I actually talked to a trader the other day. They're like, oh, I want to size up. I'm like, they haven't even had like 2 or 3 months of consistency. Like, you're going to get wrecked. You know what I mean? Like, by all means, size up, but I'm telling you this, do it so you can see what happens. Like, I don't even like sizing up. You know what I mean? So accept loss quickly. A disciplined trader exits at the stop without hesitation. Hope is not a strategy. Small losses are business expenses. I said this yesterday in my reel. Like yesterday, I got stopped out at the very top, and then it sold off. Like, I could have stayed in there, but I thought I was wrong. The trade, we had a huge push past the level. Like, it was an invalidation point for me, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I got out of the trade, and then the trade went. But that doesn't matter. I didn't chase it. I accepted my loss. It's a business expense, and a disciplined trader is going to acknowledge that and deal with it. You know what I mean? A disciplined trader is going to acknowledge that and deal with it. So that's all there is to it, right? So emotional control is trained, not given. You guys know this. Like, you're not just going to wake up and have all the emotion control you need. You're going to have to train yourself. It's like anything. It's like going to the gym. It's like putting those reps in, right? You're going to have to train yourself. So you're battling yourself more than the market. And that's facts. We really are. Like, what's our biggest problem? Ourself. As an individual, we are our own worst enemy in the market. Doesn't matter. You come in and you learn my system, you might have a month of, you're like, holy fuck, man, this thing printed. And then 1 or 2 days, just you get in your head and you're battling yourself, and then you're right back to square one, right? So every trader's the same. I deal with this all the time. And I talk about it every day. I'm like, fuck, I'm battling my triggers today. I'm feeling like I want to overtrade. I've taken a couple trades. I'm getting greedy. I feel like my discipline's starting to slope to the downside. I need to walk away. You got to be real with yourself when you're battling that stuff, and just acknowledge those triggers and just be real with yourself with it, right? That's ultimately what it is, right? So fear causes hesitation. If you're battling yourself, you're going to be you're going to be scared to take trades, right? Greed causes overextension, and ego causes revenge trading. I can't stress this enough. Greed causes overextension, right? So, or overextension. What I mean by that is the greedier we are, the more trades we're going to take. We're going to overextend ourselves in the market and get crushed. We're going to get cooked. It's happened to me so many times, and it's going to continue to happen to me. None of us are going to be perfect with us, but the market does not operate on greed. It does not give a fuck what we want. So we have to be very disciplined with that. And how many times? Yesterday's a perfect example. I came in, my first trade was a win. I was up like $250. Good day. Fuck, it used to take me 10 hours on the tools as an electrician to make that. But I was greedy. I sized up on the next trade. It was a good setup, solid setup. I would have traded again, but my whole issue was just being greedy. I knew I should have walked away. I had a bunch of stuff to do that afternoon, and it got me cooked, right? So greed, that's all there is to it. Come in, take 1 or 2 trades, and walk away. Avoid that greed, right? Because greed, we're greedy. And ultimately, like, it's okay to be greedy. We want to be fucking millionaires, right? Why are we in this? Why do we trade? We want a fucking abundance of money. I'm not going to fucking act like we don't, but the market doesn't operate on greed. So you got to accept sometimes, like, okay, I've had a good day. I just made somebody's weekly salary in like 8 minutes. I'm going to walk away. And I guarantee you that'll save you a lot of overtrading, a lot of emotional control, all that stuff, right? So again, the main thing here is emotional control, right? So revenge trading is emotional, not strategic. It isn't. And I used to be really bad for it. I would get in a trade and it'd lose, and I'd instantly exit and get in another trade and size up and try and make it back. And it's just, there's no strategy there. There's no strategy. You're setting yourself up for failure, right? After a loss, your next trade should still meet full criteria, right? And even today, I took that win. I talk about this in losses, but even wins too. If you come in and you take a winning trade, and then you see another setup hit within like 2 minutes after, like, I normally don't take it because I'm already like amped up. My body's already like emotion. I already have these high emotions, this high, euphoria. I just took a nice trade. I made some money. And today's a perfect example. I took that level bounce, caught almost 30 points. And then we held the level and broke it and retested it. I could have shorted it there. Some people did short it. But I didn't because I just got in a trade and I'm like, you know what? this next trade meets my criteria, but my emotions are up and my euphoria is up from taking this first trade. I'm just gonna chill, and that sometimes we got to do that, right? So after a loss, just your next trade should meet your full criteria. That's all there is to it. If you feel urgency, step away. And I talk about this all the time. If you're feeling urgency or if you're feeling uncomfortable, you don't take the trade. That's all there is to it. Like that's discipline right there. This is a huge one. Detach from outcomes. One trade means nothing. Your edge plays out over 50 or 100 trades. I say this all the time. I don't care if I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses in a row because I know over 100 trades, the level system that I trade and the models that I've built make me money. That's how I'm consistent. Like one trade means nothing. Try to like when you have a losing trade, just be like, you know what? Fuck it. I had like 2 weeks of wins. And a lot of the times we get that. We'll have a few weeks of wins and then one loss will just crush us. You got to just think, just write this down. Write this down and put it on your trading desk. One trade means nothing. Your edge plays out over 50 to 100 trades. Discipline is emotional neutrality under pressure. Okay, that's all it is. When you're under pressure, that's when that discipline has to push. So, again, I want to say this again, man. One trade means nothing. It means nothing. So if you have a bad trade, it really means nothing. We're in this for a long time. So, think of like over 1,000 trades, right? Think of over 1,000 trades. What's one trade? Think of over 100 trades. What's one trade? You know what I mean? Think of over 20 trades. What's one trade? Right? So patience is a core skill. Most of trading is waiting. Trev, can you touch on this? Because what did we talk about right before we got on here? How long did it take you to take your trade today?
Yeah, man. This like everybody kind of knows like my king gap strategy. Like it doesn't present itself until like the very earliest 10 o'clock. So like it is the most boring strategy, but the win rate is crazy high. So it's just patient pays.
Exactly. Appreciate that, bro. Yeah, like he's like, man, he caught like 30 something points today, right? But he's like, it just took so long for the setup to happen. But most of trading is patience, right? And I'm bad at this. I take a lot of trades. I probably trade off the open more often than most traders, to be honest. Like I acknowledge it, but it's always a level or something like that, right? So exactly what Trev is saying. It's waiting for structure, right? Waiting for that setup to happen. Usually it doesn't happen until after 10 o'clock with his system. Waiting for confirmation. Waiting for your edge. Ultimately, what it comes down to is we need to have an edge in the market. So our level system, the king gap strategy that Trev trades, the liquidity sweep model, those are our edges in the market. Now we have to have an edge with discipline too. So waiting for structure, waiting for confirmation, and waiting for that edge, being patient, that's an edge itself in the market, right? So over trading usually comes from boredom. Like I just wrote this because it doesn't for me anymore. Over trading is literally me being fucking greedy. That's all it is. I'm telling you right now. Like I don't trade because I'm bored. Like I wait for setups every single day. You guys trade live with me, you see. But a lot of people do trade out of boredom. They see price moving, they're like, "Oh, I'll take a stab at this," and there's no real setup, and they get cooked, right? So that's over trading. So fear of missing out, that hits me some days. Again, that comes down to greed, right? You just want to make money when you think everybody else is, right? The need to make something happen. And I say this, like let's put this into different perspective. Maybe you got some bills, or you want to make some money to take your girl out, or you want to make some money to show your friends or on Instagram. You're trying to make something happen, and it's not going to happen because your system's not there, right? Your setup's not there. You're over trading. You're overstaying your welcome in the market. So it's making something happen. There's no outcome with that, right? No good outcome. A missed trade is better than a forced trade. I say this all the time. If we miss a trade, fuck it. I say it every single day on the live. I'm like, you know what? If I miss this, if it goes without me, I'm fine. And even my last trade today, I got in. It was solid. I see what I wanted to see. We had all that liquidity taken, 400-point sell-off. We were about to inverse a fair value gap, but before that, we were tagging discount and a fair value gap on ES. We inversed the gap on NQ. I entered. That's my liquidity sweep model. And it went, and I put my stop a little bit in profit, and it stopped stop me out. And I was like, that was my try. I feel like if it were to go, it would have went there. Then it came down. I would have been in drawdown like 10, 20 points because it retested discount and a fair value gap, and then it went. It went like 40, 50, 60 points. But I don't look at it like that. I'm not going to chase it again. I got in the trade. It didn't go when I wanted it to. I'm already up over $500 on the day. I didn't lose any money on that trade. It's a missed trade, and it's better than forcing it again and getting stopped out because I'm going to be upset with myself, right? I'm going to be disappointed that I wasn't patient, that I forced the trade. I was patient waiting for the setup. And a lot of the time, these setups, when we get in them, they'll go. They'll move right away. And it didn't, right? So, a missed trade, again, you guys, a missed trade is better than a forced trade. Consistency over intensity. Professionals execute consistently, not dramatically. Okay? Like, you don't have to come in full out all day. Like, just be consistent with base hits. Be consistent with your sizing. Be consistent with your process and your pre-market game plan and getting everything ready. Be consistent with that stuff, right? Same model. Trade the same model every day. Like, one thing that I'm proud of as a trader, how often do you see me trade anything but my model? Like today I traded a market maker sell model, that short from the top. I trade like that like once or twice a month. You know what I mean? Like that's not, it's part of my model and I teach people it, but levels. That's where I find that my edge is the best in the market. So I just trade the same models every single day. Every single day, the same models, the same setup criteria. What do I want to see? The same setup criteria. Bounces off key levels, continuations towards liquidity. You know what I mean? M2, M5 buy setups, liquidity sweeps, and then back above a level. Internal sweeps, the same stuff every day and the same process daily. Like I get up and do the same thing every single morning. I get up at the same time. I meditate for 5 minutes. I do the same routine every single day, the same process. That is going to help you with discipline. It really is. Like if you also too, I'm very disciplined off the charts. I'm disciplined with my diet. I'm disciplined with the gym. Like I don't care. Like I don't miss. I go to the gym 5 days a week. I feel like, and I'm not saying you got to do that, but if you don't have discipline off the charts, how the fuck are we going to have discipline on the charts? We're not, right? So for me, discipline is Monday to Friday, eating healthy, no sugars, going to the gym, trying to be in bed, before 10, 11 at night. Discipline outside. I don't really party, little things like that. Like I'm very disciplined off the charts. So be disciplined on the charts. You know what I mean? Be disciplined on the charts. That's all there is to it. So track big emotional swings, inconsistent performance. That just says it itself, right? If you're stressing out every day, you know what I mean, and you're oversizing and you're not being disciplined on or off the charts, you're gonna have inconsistent performance. That's all there is to it. So focus on process, not profit. And I say this all the time, and it's hard for new traders to wrap their head around this. Like we all want to make money. I'm not gonna front like we don't. We want abundance of money, but sometimes you got to focus on the process and not the profit, and the process is going to be what brings the profit. If you're oversizing and you're trying to get these big, massive trades and you're focused on what other traders are doing and you're trying to mimic that or replicate it, you're not focusing on where you are in your journey, and you're not focusing on the process. That's all there is to it. And when you don't focus on the process, the profit is not going to be there. Does that make sense? Like it's just not. You know what I mean? It took me a while to learn that. That's all there is to it. Focus on the process, not the profit. Track execution quality, not just P&L. And I talk about this every day, and I do send stuff in the chat every single night or every other night. I'm like, hey, review the chart. Look at this. Even this morning, I was tracking what was going on. What are we doing? Putting in higher lows. I wanted to see a push with the news, and then I wanted to see that previous day high taken. That's what we did, right? Track your execution. Track your emotional stuff too. Like, how do you feel? How do you feel in the trade? You know what I mean? Like, was I really emotional in this? Was I sized up? Track everything. And, I can show you guys something here. I've talked about this before. And I've showed this before. Look at this. Just for instance, I'm just going to show you how thick this is. See that book? How thick that book is? And then look at these papers. These are all my journal from years ago, trading options. Downside continuation was very weak. Play downside as was fading when SPY went up. Good trade. I got the exact time that I went in the trade. 9:39:04. Exit 9:52:32. Like everything, you guys. Everything you can think of. This is years worth of data, right? Like everything. Everything written down. Everything. So I just want to show you guys. Like, look at this one. Price was holding above VWAP. Sold off all-time high, but started to climb off open candles. Before was bullish. Stuck to my levels. Good scalp. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I wrote everything down. The time that I was in it. How many contracts. Whether it was a good trade, a bad trade. My emotions on it. I'm just going to try and find some. Look at this one. $1,000. Stick to stop loss. Bad. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta write. You gotta journal. And I'm just showing you guys this stuff because this is what built my discipline. This is years of options trading and literally writing everything down. And I also have a book right here. I can't show all of this because there's a lot of my secrets to the levels and stuff in here. But like stock notes, everything, right? Tons of stuff in here. You know what I mean? Like you gotta keep it real with yourself. If you aren't doing this stuff at the beginning of your journey, like I'm not saying I don't do it as much anymore, but I feel like I have the community, so I post stuff in there. And every single day when I'm charting levels, before I chart levels, I spend about a half an hour and I look through and I review the day. Take mental notes, take screenshots. I have tons of screenshots I can show you guys that I take. But that's just executing every day, or tracking my execution every day, right? Not just the P&L. So please, if you are struggling with the discipline, do that stuff. And I'm old school. I don't use TradeZella. I manually input everything. And that's just how I am. I'm an electrician. And, you know, sometimes if I do it myself, it's better. So I can, you know, you can just, TradeZella can do it, but are you gonna be honest with yourself on there? You know, because you just want to show people it, right? Like, take notes, write down, journal every day. You're going to be honest with yourself with that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So a good trade can lose money. Yesterday, that was a good trade. Previous day high taken, liquidity, key level, M2 sell setup, solid trade. A trade, maybe an A plus, to be honest. I got in, NQ didn't drop. I knew I should have exited. I didn't, and it popped and stopped me out of the trade, right? Like it squeezed me out of the trade. That's all there is to it. A bad trade can make money. You guys know that. Sometimes you get in a trade, you're like, oh, fuck, why did I take this trade? And then boom, you make $500,000 on it. So you got to recognize that, though, and write it down. Be like, listen, today I got lucky. Today was luck. I took a bad trade, ended up making money. It's still not a good day, right? So accountability builds discipline. Journal everything. Why you entered. And I just showed you all that stuff. Why you exited. How you felt. What you did poorly. Like I used to friggin' write down the exact time to the second when I would get in a trade. When it came to options, I knew when my times were when I made more money than others, right? Like it's just, you got to be honest with yourself with this stuff. Journal everything. Journal the emotions. Journal why you entered, why you exited, what the setup was, how you felt, everything. This is all leading to discipline. I know I'm rambling on and going a little bit outside the box here, but if you don't do this stuff, how are you going to be a disciplined trader? How are you going to know what to stay disciplined with? Right? That's all there is to it. And I know most of you do this, and you should be proud. Because a lot of traders think they do this, but they don't. They really don't. You know what I mean? So, patterns of discipline reveal themselves in writing. Okay? And I'm old school. Write shit down. Write shit down. Journal everything. Right? Review weekly. Should be reviewed daily, but at least weekly. Identify rule violations. Correct behavior before increasing size. And the reason why I'm saying this, because I've had a lot of people talk about sizing up lately. I had somebody message me and they're like, oh, when do you feel like the right time to size up? I don't think anybody should size up until they have a year of consistency. I'm just keeping it real. Like there's no reason to be putting on size because every single time you're going to probably get wrecked. You know, you're not, most people aren't there yet. So, but if you are going to size up, make sure those behaviors that are causing you to fail and those that lack discipline, make sure you correct those. Because sizing up doesn't mean you make more money. You got bigger size. You can get bigger moves. It doesn't work like that. You know, sizing up just means there's a more emotional stress and more discipline needed in the trade. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all there is to it. So you don't need to rise your goals. You fall to your habits. Like that's all there is to it. You know what I mean? I always tell people like it's awesome to have amazing goals, but make sure you build the habits to get there. because the goals don't mean shit if you don't have what it takes to reach those. And it's all discipline and habits, right? Long-term perspective. Discipline separates gamblers from professionals. That's all there is to it, right? Short-term excitement from long-term consistency. Like, I hope everybody's in this for the long term, and consistency over years, multiple years, decades is what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? Emotional traders from sustainable traders, right? If you're an emotional trader, you're not going to come in and take a loss like me and then come in the next day and be okay. It's going to stress you out. You're going to be, it's going to take a while to build that emotion up too, like to build that discipline up where you can be a sustainable trader. So don't stress if you're not there yet, because it took me years. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a long time. My biggest problem for the first 2 or 3 years of my trading was discipline over trading and just being such an emotional trader. You know what I mean? Now I'm not really like that. And you guys see from my trading. Hopefully you guys see. So the market rewards patience. Trev, what did the market do for you today?
Yeah, I locked in 35 points.
Boom. And he waited. He didn't take any of the trades we took. He waited patiently until his king gap formed and traded it. Boom. That's why he's a fucking analyst in here, because he's Trev trades, baby. Trev trades. Solid though, right? Perfect example. Patience. Risk control, capital preservation. Big thing here, capital preservation, right? We got to reserve capital. That's all there is to it. Like, if you have a 20K personal account, are you going to be putting on 5 minis, 50 micros? Are you going to want to lose $10,000 of that account? Think of your fundeds like that too. You got a $2,500 account. Like, you got to save that account so you can get those payouts. If you have a couple bad days and you blow it, capital preservation was not there, right? Risk control varies. Like, some trades you're going to put more risk on than others. That's all there is to it, right? So emotional maturity. And I'll be honest, I think our community is very mature. I think a lot of people have emotional maturity off the charts. I've been in other communities where, I'm sure you guys have too. It's like, holy fuck, what is going on in here, man? So anyways, I won't get into that, but it's emotional maturity, right? Just try and grow with that discipline and grow with your emotional maturity, right? So repetition of a proven edge. Like, drop a 1 or just say, do you guys see my edge in the market that I use?
100%.
Exactly. Do you guys see me repeat it every single day? Like, you've been in here for a year, Zach. Have you seen the repetition of my proven edge?
Yeah, and the thing is it's like, you got to, and I'm really bad at this, which is why I'm not profitable yet, is you need to put yourself in a position to be able to stay in the same state of mind first 2 hours of the market from 9 to 11, right? So you're constantly thinking about outcome, which is 100% what I do. And you're like, oh, well, I hope I make money today, or I hope I do this. Lose sight of the fact that creates a lot of hesitation and a lot of everything that was under bullet point 1, right? Like, I even did that today. The short that we had towards data low, I didn't jump into it on the retest of the level, which was so perfect, because I had already traded. I had already mistakenly blown an account today off a technicality, and I already had a bunch of profit too. But still, the point stands is, if you can come into the market, hey, no matter what happens, I'm as appropriately and just take the best opportunity you can. It's almost like you need to block your P&L and then just look at it at the end of the day to see how you did, if that's how you get validation.
Definitely, bro. You have to repeat that edge every single day. Every single day. And the hardest part is, and I see this all the time, I see traders come in. I've had traders in the community being here for 3 or 4 months, and they do well. They're like, oh yeah, fuck man, I'm printing off the levels. And then they have a bad week or two and they see somebody else in the community trading a little bit different, and they're messaging them and trying to figure that out. You're not repeating the same edge every day. I don't care if you trade my levels. I don't care what anybody trades. I just want you to trade the same setup every day for a year. And then you can see and build data on it, right? That's what that repetitive proven edge is. So whether you trade market maker sell models, whether you trade levels, whether you're like Leo and trades the levels plus macros, that's, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Whether you're Trev trades the king gap. He has the levels on his charts, and if we have me and Trev's strategies line up together, that's even better for us, right? But I have his targets on my chart. But you have to just stick to that repetitive edge. Doesn't matter what it is. And don't get me wrong, like, don't think you guys, like, I give you the system and the tools that I developed and I grew with to become consistently profitable. So, that's why, that's what I hope that you work with and then add it into your playbook, because you're never going to trade the exact same way I do. You just aren't. Nobody is. Nobody's going to be exactly the same, right? That's the beauty of trading. It's such an individual sport. But you have to make sure that you have that repetition of a proven edge every single day. That's going to build discipline. And like Zach said today, like you blew an account, you hesitated, and the discipline was off. So, excuse me, and it's fine that you didn't take that trade and you are profitable in another account. So, I mean, you traded your edge today, I feel, but I guess what I'm getting at is like, just repeat the same thing every day, you guys. Repeatable setups. How often do you hear me say that? And my mentor told me that. He's like, you only need one repeatable setup to become a 6-figure trader. And took me like 6 months to fucking get it in my head, but I was like, man, he's right. That's all you need. 1 or 2 repeatable setups. And you can make what you make as a 9 to 5. You can replace it. Right? So, what do we got at the bottom here? My final advice. All right? Master yourself before you try and master the market. We're never going to master the market. It's impossible. I don't care how long you've been trading, how good you are. You need to really get in terms with yourself. Okay? We need to master ourselves. We need to better ourselves. We need to be more disciplined. We need to master our emotions. You need to master yourself before you master the market. So forget about what the market's doing every day. Repeat your edge. Repeat that setup. Work on yourself. Build that discipline, and that is how you're going to grow. That's how you're going to have less emotion when you trade, right? So trade small until discipline is automatic. Dudes, my biggest trade today was 6 micros. I had 2 micros on my first trade. You know what I mean? Like, I took a loss today. Not that my discipline's off, but I recognize that maybe I'm just having a couple rough days. We have that as traders. I'm going to be disciplined and trade small. That's all there is to it. And I'm completely happy with my win today. I feel great. I thought I executed well. I sized well after a loss. And I'm going to come in tomorrow with a lot more confidence. And my edge is, I know I'm going to rip my edge tomorrow, right? So, just trade small until discipline is automatic. And I'm just using me as an example today because I really believe I am a pretty disciplined trader. But today was a perfect example. Like I took a loss yesterday, $1,700. I came in today. I wasn't focused on making money. I wasn't focused on making that big loss back. All I was focused on was executing my edge, trading my system, and getting my mindset back and my confidence back from that loss. Because I can sit here and act like it didn't bother me at all. It did. Every loss bothers us. It's in the back of our head. So today, I feel like I did what I was supposed to do. And even with trading the size that I did, I still had over a $500 day. Today would have been like a 3-4K day for me if I traded my regular size. But I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to look at that. I'm going to be like, you know what, Brad? Pat on the back. You came in today. You made some of the money back. That wasn't the goal, though. The goal is to trade your edge, size properly, and just get back in the game. You know what I mean? So discipline. I feel like I was very disciplined today. That's all there is to it. So build habits first, profits follow structure. Again, you know what I mean? Like focus on process. That's all there is to it. If you focus on that process, then that the profits are going to come. They are. That's all there is to it. Survival and consistencies come before growth. Man, you got to survive in this game a long time. That's all there is to it. You know what I mean? You got to get up and you battle every day. Capital preservation is the main thing for me. Like I just want to preserve capital so that I can trade every day. Because I know if I have a bad day, I know the next day I'll probably have some fucking A+ setup. So why let that bad day completely crush my account? You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lose-lose if you don't try and preserve capital. Like you could come in and have a bad day, and then the next day, and you've all seen it. It's happened to me a million times. I come in, have a bad day, blow a funded or blow a personal account. I've blown, fuck, you guys know I've ran through tens of thousands of dollars of my own money. I don't even want to give you the full number. You'd be like, holy fuck. But I'll blow my entire account. I'll come in the next day, and I'll be like, fuck. And the thing is, I'll be in a trade, and I'll be down like 2,000 or 3,000. I won't cut it, and then I'll have a big loss or blow the account. And then the next day I come in, and the fucking level prints, and we have a perfect setup, and I'm like, fuck, why didn't I just accept loss? Why wasn't I just disciplined for that one trade and preserve capital? Because today, I would have crushed it. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you got to look at it. just really look at it like that. When you're in a trade and you're in drawdown, whether it's a good trade, a bad trade, have discipline to make that executive decision. Like, am I going to let this wreck me today, or am I going to cut it and then come back tomorrow and do what I got to do? You know what I mean? That's discipline. And I think that's ultimately the biggest issue with most traders. Over trading and not accepting loss, letting it get out of hand. And it's even worse with these fundeds, because if you have a job or you got some money in the bank, what the fuck is $100? That's one less meal out with your girl that month, right? So, but like you start trading a 10, 20K account, man, that loss sucked yesterday. That was my own money. You know what I mean? Like, that was brutal. That sucked, man. So your discipline with fundeds is a little bit scarce, I could say, but you got to trade them like real accounts. Trade it like real capital. Be like, okay, I got a 50K account, $2,500 is what I got to work with. I got to try and keep this for a month. And like Zach, Shiv, I don't know if Shiv's in here. Shiv held a funded for like, I don't know what it was, 64 days. Like, most of you didn't see. I think Zach might have seen it. Most of you didn't see when I ran up the prop firms. It was a couple summers ago. Trev seen it. Trev was there. But I had a funded for, I think, what was it? I think 82 days, and I rinsed them for like 52K. You know what I mean? Like, that was just the 52K was the big payout. I was still getting 2K off them twice a month because it was different rules back then. You could pull profits out on the first, and between the 1st and the 5th and the 15th and the 20th. But anyways, that was a big flex for me. I was like, yo, I just held like 82 days or almost 90 days. I held the funded. Now, once I rinsed them for the 50K, I was trading massive, and I had like, 15, 20K left in the account, and I blew it. I didn't give a fuck though, man. I 100x my money. It was one 50K account, but that was me just being disciplined, holding that account as long as I can. So I started out with a 50K, $2,500 drawdown, just like everybody else did, right? So think about that. Be like, okay, I'm not going to focus on payouts. I'm going to focus on holding this funded for 2 weeks. Because some people are running through fundeds fast, right? Just have that discipline. Be like, I got to hold this funded for a month. That's my goal right now. Not getting payouts, not anything. Just being disciplined enough to trade my edge and stop out when I need to, take profits when I need to, and just trade like I'm supposed to, trade like a pro, and keep this funded for as long as possible. That's a big thing. So survival, what I'm getting at right now. Survival and consistency before growth, right? Boom. Anyways, that's what I got for the discipline talk today. Do you guys think it was good? Do you feel like you got something out of this?
Yeah, it's a really good thing to go over constantly, man, right? Because like, even after, there's two sides to it. There's like having a really bad day, like you need to kind of get it off your chest, and then like revisit some of this stuff. But even when you have really good days, like, dude, today is the most I've ever even had in a day on a funded, in a balance on a funded. But I didn't execute super well. Like, it wasn't like a clean day. That I could have had $4,000 today if I just traded my setups. I was trading like a cowboy. Like, dude, it was a little brutal. You have days like that sometimes, and it was the fact that a really bad mistake, like logistically, just set me off. And so I walked away from the computer. And like, I didn't like blow anything up today, but still, like, the goal is to come into the market and calmly be able to look at your edge play out and then just sit in it. And then whatever happens, happens. And if you do that 80 out of 100 times, you're probably going to win the
100%.
That's the only reason to size appropriately and try to create some duration in these accounts, because once you've built a buffer on one account, 2 accounts, right, like, those should last a while.
Yep.
You can literally treat a prop firm like a bank account, which is kind of contradictory to what everyone else says. Like, oh, it's an investment account, it's $50, like, your mental capital's limited, just like trade it, and if you blow it, you blow it. Like, that's not realistic for most people. The best way to do it is use that account as an opportunity with really low financial leverage outside of trading to create a lot of these habits and prove to yourself that you have what it takes to trade these accounts or live cash.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. I love it.
You need a track record.
You need to trade them like, respect it like it's a personal account, right? And I know a lot of people don't, and that's it's a battle, and the prop firms love the shit. You know what I mean? They love people just coming in and fucking going all in like a cowboy. And yeah, you trade like a cowboy. I have those days all the time, bro. I'm not gonna lie. You guys see me take 4 or 5 trades sometimes. Like, look at the last couple weeks. Actually, I was very disciplined, and then yesterday, it was just a loss. It was a good loss, but it got to me. It got to me, right? But ultimately, I think you said it. You said it exactly like you should, Zach. You got to treat those accounts like they're real. That's all there is to it, right? How are you going to trade a real account like real if you can't even trade a funded like a real? Like, you're going to come in and be a cowboy on the real accounts, and I think everybody should be taking payouts and funnel them into real accounts. You know what I mean? Ultimately, everybody's goal should be trading real live cash at the end of the day, right? Like, you know how many times I've paid myself in the last year through my live cash account, and how I would have made, like, if I have a 50K account, okay, I need to make $3,000 to pass the evaluation, $3,000 to get a payout. That's $6,000. If I was trading my own cash, that's $6,000 in my account. That's almost 10K Canadian for me, right? So, you know, like, if you get to the point where you're consistently profitable and you have the discipline to hold these funded, start funneling that money into a real account, and then you don't have to wait for the payouts. You can pay yourself every damn day if you want. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, that's all I got, guys. We'll hop on and chat for a sec. We're just gonna end the recording, but I think that was a good one. You know, because I think we all struggle with discipline. I have it all the time. I deal with this stuff, right? It's a battle that I deal with every day. So hopefully this helped a bit.